What's up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. These are my Draftings MMA picks for UFC 251 Fight Island. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another DraftKings MMA picks video. This time we are breaking down the biggest card of the year, UFC 251 Fight Island. We have the stacked card from top to bottom. We have 3 title fights. We have an amazing main event, Jorge Masvidal versus Kamaru Usman. Really looking forward to it. We got $1 million up top to first in the big DraftKings contest. Really excited for this card. The most I've been excited all year for some UFC. The card is just amazing. Before we start the video, if you guys can leave a like, also subscribe if you haven't yet, would really appreciate that. On my way to 4,000 subscribers, need about 500 more to reach that mark. Would be a huge milestone, and thank you for all the people that have subscribed and support me. I am doing another free roll contest like I like to do on these bigger cards. I'm actually doing 2 contests. If you want to get in the other one, I posted a prediction video. You can check that out on there. Basically comment how many strikes, significant strikes, Max Holloway and Volkanovski will combine. Go comment on that other video that I posted. But for this, DraftKings in particular, what you need to do to enter that contest on DraftKings is free roll, $25 the first, nothing crazy, just something to say thanks for all the support. But like this video, subscribe if you haven't yet, and then comment your DraftKings username. I'll get you into that contest. Gonna hold it to the first 100 people. I think there's like 40 people in there now, so still 60 spots left. So plenty of spots to get in there. Just a free roll to say thank you, guys. I am going to be going live on Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, maybe 7:30 at the latest. Just for about an hour 10. I know it's a longer card, so I might go an extra 10 minutes. Giving my final thoughts, info on the weigh-ins. The weigh-ins are going to be very important this week, I believe. Some betting advice, some DraftKings advice, and a lot more. So come in, hang out, come ask questions. Going to be in there for about an hour. And then other than that, I want to show you guys what you guys can get into on Patreon. There's a couple different options. There is the $5 option where you get everything you see here, the stats here. You get the targets, the projections, the rankings, and the lineup percentages. And then there's a premium option, which is $10, which that includes the cash line, single line optimizer, gives you the optimal lineup using my projections, and then also the example cash lineup on that same page there, and then the premium breakdown and strategy video where I go into breaking down the fights fighter by fighter, and then also give some lineup construction as well, whether it's cash, whether it's single entry. So lots of good stuff on there. $5 option or $10 option, both prices are amazing. Even if you're just playing for this week, like $5, $10, like that's as cheap as can be there. So lots of good value. I try to provide the best value for the best price for you guys. And in my core plays article, go over my core plays, my cash core, fights to target. Just recently started doing that article as well. So good stuff in there. And so check that out. I'll put the link in the description. But with that said, it's time to start breaking down this DraftKings slate for you guys. First, as always, we are going to look at the fight. Doesn't go to decision lines. First, we got, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, like Jiri Prokatsi. I'm just going to call him Jiri. And Uzmir minus 210. Fight does not go to decision. I did a lot of tape on this Jiri guy. He hits hard. He's big. He's lengthy. He's long. I think he's like 6'4". That doesn't have his reach on Tapology, but I'm assuming he has a big reach, maybe even a reach advantage on Uzdemir. But Uzdemir is the more tested guy. These guys are going to throw until someone falls. This is a fight you're going to want to target on both sides. I personally am leaning Uzdemir, but I like Jiri quite a bit as an underdog play because he has the power to knock Uzdemir out. Uzdemir has been finished, I think, one time by strikes by DC. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's another time, but I can remember one time Uzdemir did get finished by strikes. Uzdemir is a tough guy. We've seen Jiri knocked out a couple times. But yeah, I think somebody is going to get knocked out in this fight. Something I really want to target just to get back on that. Uzdemir has been finished once by strikes, and Jiri's been finished once by strikes as well. So yeah, and if Uzdemir wants to go to his ground game, I think he has an advantage on the ground as well. So going to be a very interesting fight. Like I said, personally like Uzdemir, but both sides is the way to go here. Henry Amarikani. I like Amarikani quite a bit. Minus 175. Fight does not go to decision. He's going to try to end this fight early. He has gas tank problems, so he's going to try to get out of there early. He has great wrestling, great BJJ. I think he can get him out of there early, and he's one of my favorite plays, 8,600. Get to it in a little bit more, but he's a great play. On the flip side of things, not really interested in Henry, but he has power. He has some BJJ. Don't think he's going to submit on Marcani or anything, but he does have some power, so that's a little worrisome there. But probably play both sides, but a big lean on Marcani. Jan Aldo, minus 150. Fight does not go to decision. I can see this fight actually being very close. I don't necessarily know if it's going to end inside the distance. If it does, it's probably Aldo early or Jan late, but definitely a fight I want to target from both sides. I see a lot of love for Jan, but I think this fight, I'll get into it a little bit later, but I think this fight's going to play out a lot closer than people think. Dos Santos versus Helikov, minus 135. Fight does not go to decision. This fight's going to end inside the distance. I don't really see how this goes to decision. I'd be pretty surprised. Both these guys have power, especially Salikov. He has a lot of power. I'll get to it in a little bit more later in the video, but Dos Santos, I am picking him to win, but Salikov's a great play. He has that power. Pretty much all his fights that he wins are by finish, besides his last fight, but other than that, he's a finisher. So this is definitely a fight you want to target. They're both 8,000 and 8,200, right in that 8,000 range. I have a great feeling it's going to be on the optimal lineup. Tybura Grishin, minus 135. Fight does not go to decision. Grishin's someone who DraftKings has not added in the player pool yet, which is very frustrating because I could have got this video out Monday, but I wanted to wait for DraftKings to get him in the player pool, and they haven't. For some reason, I don't know why, but Grishin, I'm assuming he'll be 8,300. That's what I marked him down in my model and everything. 8,300 seems about right for the odds. I think he's a slight favorite now. He was an underdog at some point, but heavyweights, I'll get into it in a second, but Grishin's coming up to heavyweight. He's a light heavyweight. I think someone's going to get knocked out. I have a very good feeling somebody's going to get knocked out. Both guys have some power, and Tybura is a little bit on the chinny side. So with that said, let's get into the core plays. I really like the core plays this week. I really do. We'll start with Kamaru Usman, 8,900. First of all, he's like minus 270 now. He opened up at like minus 290. So there is money coming in on Masvidal. I saw on Twitter that like 90% of people are have bets on Masvidal, which is absolutely crazy. I can't tell you guys how much times I've been called a casual this week for being all over Kamaru Usman. I think most of the public is going to go on Jorge Masvidal, which is going to skyrocket his ownership. I think Masvidal is going to be a lot higher owned than he should be. And that might lower Kamaru Usman's ownership, which is crazy to think about it. 8,900. He has extreme upside, takedowns, advances, strikes. A lot of upside here, and I think he's a safe play as well. Obviously going to have this play in cash. I like him in GPP as well. I'll tell you guys right now, Kamaru Usman's going to be my highest owned fighter. And honestly, I'm going to be underweight to Masvidal. I'm going to let the public let his ownership go to maybe 25, maybe 30%, which would be insane. And then I'm going to go underweight to Masvidal. I'm not going to fade Masvidal because he does have that power, but I think this is a great matchup for Kamaru Usman. And I know a lot of people don't like hearing that, but you can play Jorge Masvidal. I'll be playing Kamaru Usman. Alexander Volkanovski, 9,100. Another play I like. He looked great in their last fight. There's a lot of narrative going around with Max that he hasn't seen his coaches until a couple days ago. He's been training on Zoom, and I didn't believe that at first, and then I watched an interview with Martin Day. I went into this a little bit on my prediction video. Martin Day actually confirmed that Max and him have been doing training on Zoom. So if you guys haven't seen the interview, go check it out. Martin Day, I retweeted it on my Twitter. Go check that out. Martin Day basically confirms that Hawaii was on a strict lockdown, no gyms and all that, and that they have been doing Zoom. I'm assuming Holloway is ready. Obviously, I'm assuming he has been training, but that's just something to think about there. But I like Volkanovski a lot. Lots of volume. Maybe he can mix in takedowns this fight. I'll get into it on my Friday video, but I did place a bet on Volkanovski as well. I like him to win here quite a bit. Makwan Amarikani, 8,600. He's going to come in here trying to finish the fight, and that's what we want out of somebody on DraftKings. He's going to come in here with a lot of grappling, a lot of takedowns. It's what his bread and butter is. I think he's going to be able to get Henry down actually pretty easily and hopefully get that first round submission. That's what I'm banking on, and I like Makwan quite a bit. Volkan Oezdemir, 8,400. Like I said, someone's getting knocked out in this fight. Hard to pick just one side. My lean is Oezdemir, but Jiri has a lot of power himself, and I really do think someone's going to get knocked out, probably early too. Getting into the GPP plays, there's a couple guys I'm actually looking at, a couple guys and girls I'm looking at putting in here throughout the week, but these are my top 5 right now. Peter Yan, 9,300. I think this fight's going to be a lot closer than people think, but he has 5 rounds to work with. He has good volume, but if you think about it, does he really want to come in here with a high volume game plan against a dangerous fighter in Aldo? I don't know. I think he'll probably start turning it up as the fight goes on, and I think he'll hit value in a win. Maybe he does finish Aldo late in the fight as well. So I do think the ceiling's pretty high for Jan. Muslim Salikov got into it a little bit, 8,200. Very, very dangerous fighter. He's finished like 90% of his fights. All he does is get finishes, besides his last fight against Starpoli. But we've seen Dos Santos knocked out before, and I wouldn't be surprised if Salikov got him here. He's one of my favorite GPP plays, even though I am picking Dos Santos because he is just that dangerous. He is very low volume. That's the only thing. So I am picking Dos Santos to out-volume him and maybe a decision or even finish Salikov, or maybe even take him down. But, Salikov's a great GPP play. I'm definitely having both sides of this fight, and I like it a lot. Leonardo Santos, 8,800. He's going to have a very, very huge BJJ advantage. This guy is a 4th degree BJJ black belt. Very good on the feet as well. He has power. I think he's going to finish this fight. I actually placed a bet on him as well. I like him to win this fight quite a bit, whether it's stuffing takedowns, whether getting taken down, getting a reversal or sweep, or finding something off his back. Really find it hard to see Santos losing in this spot. 8,800. He is low volume, but I'm sensing a finish here, so I'm willing to pay that price of 8,800. Maxine Grishin, like I said, we don't know if he's going to be 8,300. That's what I'm assuming he is. Just going to replace Romanov, but 8,300. Heavyweight fight. I know he's a light heavyweight, but he's coming up to heavyweight, so I don't know if his power is going to translate, but Tybura's been knocked out like 4 times. Tybura has not the best chin, so if Grishin can, hit Tybura hard, knock him out, I would not be surprised. Grishin has finished, I think, 50% of his fights by knockout, and he's not bad. I watched tape on this guy. This guy is pretty good. The only concern is, what's he going to look like at heavyweight? We've seen recently where light heavyweights come up to heavyweight, not get the best results, so I want to see him on the scale, so tune in Friday for that, and talk about what we see from Grishin on the scales. Martin Day, 8,500. Like I said earlier, he's been doing some Zoom training. I watched his interview. He said that he hasn't been able to do much in the gym. He said he's been doing a lot of cardio, though, a lot of running. He said he was able to do that. So I do think Grant can take him down here and have some success on the ground. But if this stays on the feet, I have it Day all day. Like I mentioned in my prediction video, if this is on the feet, he's going to look like a minus 300 favorite. And Grant, I watched his interview as well. Grant said he's going to stand and trade with Day and knock him out. And I think that's an awful idea. For Grant, he needs to come in here and get takedowns, try to find a submission, hold Day down, which, Day's ground game is still very, very green. And I think that's why this line is where it is. If, Day had a good ground game, I think he'd be like a minus 300 favorite here because he obviously has a huge striking advantage. Watching tape on this guy, I was very, very impressed. But with that said, I am picking Grant to come in here and get takedowns and maybe find that submission, win a decision or get a submission there. But I would not be surprised if Day get a knockout. Grant's very tough. Grant has never been knocked out. Grant's only been submitted in his losses. Don't really see Day getting a submission on Grant. Maybe he does, but I think he can land a lot of volume on Grant, maybe knock him down, and maybe even knock him out. You never know. So 8,500 right in the mid-range, I think it's a good play. Live dogs, Ajiri, 7,800. Like I said, someone's getting knocked out. You want to play both sides. I would not just take one side in this fight. If I had to pick one guy, I'd go with Uzdemir because of the experience, but, Ajiri's very, very impressive. Marcin Tybura, 7,900. He's a heavyweight. He's a heavyweight going against a light heavyweight coming up to heavyweight. He has power. He can get takedowns, I believe, and he's a BJJ black belt. I actually did not know that till I did some research. And yeah, so I think he does have a shot here to win, whether it's through takedowns, maybe a knockout, maybe even a submission. But I do think Tybura is very, very live. I actually think he should be the favorite in this matchup too. But we'll see on the skills for sure on Friday, and see how Grishin looks at heavyweight. Elizeu Zaleski, 8,000. I'm picking him to win based off of volume alone. Salikov just does not throw much, very, very low volume, but when he does throw, he throws hard. I think someone's probably going to get finished in this fight. Zaleski has very, very underrated BJJ. If he can get Salikov down, which I don't really think that's going to happen, but if he does, he'll have a huge advantage on the mat. Maybe he'll find a submission. It's just not really in Zaleski's game plans usually to get takedowns, but he's capable of doing it, so we'll have to see. But I think he is very, very live here. Lots of money's coming in on Salikov. They're banking on Salikov getting the knockout, and he very well could, but Zaleski's very, very tough. I think Zaleski's been finished like once or twice. Very good chin on Zaleski. Jessica Andrade, 7,200. Rose is a huge favorite in this fight, which does not make sense to me at all. Andrade obviously won this fight the first time. Rose was looking good, I get that, but Rose is like a minus 210, minus 220 favorite. I think the line should be honestly a pick 'em. I am picking Rose to win the fight based off of Andrade gets hit way too much. A lot of people were saying the slam was a fluke, and maybe it was, but Andrade was looking better in that second round. She was getting takedowns, obviously the slam knockout. But yeah, that first round, Rose is looking very good, so I am picking Rose for that reason, but this fight should be a pick'em, and Andrade has power that can end the fight at any time. She has takedowns. She has good BJJ as well. Rose has great BJJ, but don't really see her submitting Andrade. Maybe she does off her back, but I see this fight playing out a lot closer than the line indicates, and that's why I like Andrade at 7,200 for the value, and she has upside as well. All right, Davy Grant, 7,700. I think this is the first fight of the night, and I've been saying this week after week, the first fight of the night is usually on the optimal lineup. Well, the streak broke last week when Zalal won. Zalal put up like 60, 70 points. So the streak broke. So I don't know if, we're going to go back to the first fight of the night being on the optimal lineup. But this fight has some potential, whether it's Day getting a knockout or Grant finding a submission. I think Grant's live. Probably going to be very low owned. It's the first fight of the night. I'm going to target it a little bit. If he stays on the feet, though, he's in big trouble. Pump plays, Max Holloway, 7,100. He scored 67 points in a loss. A lot of people were talking about the stack in GPP. I can see it. If no other underdogs win and Max scores like 75, that could be enough to get on the optimal lineup. Cash, it's a no-brainer to stack this fight. I said it 2 weeks ago with the Poirier and Hooker fight. It's a no-brainer to stack it, and only 60% of people played Hooker, which was crazy. Like Hooker scored like 95 in a loss. So that was awesome. Ended up cashing easily because of that. But, Max Holloway should be close to 100% owned here. Even if he does lose, he's going to put up good volume. He's probably not going to get finished. I don't think Holloway's ever been finished. Great chin, great volume. He should be 100% owned in cash. As for GPP, I like Volkanovski more, but the price on Max Holloway, 7,100 for his upside, I like that a lot. And as for stacking lineups in GPP, I might do it a little bit. Personally, like the Hooker and Poirier stack a little bit more. But yeah, Holloway, yeah, for sure. He does have an opportunity to lose this fight and end up on the optimal lineup. It's just if no other underdogs win that. So something to look at there. Jose Aldo, 6,900. He's going to be very, very dangerous early in the fight, and I think the fight's going to play out a lot closer than people think. I honestly think Jan hasn't beat anybody impressive at all, and I think this is Jan's toughest test by a mile here. So I think people are really underrating Aldo here. The line is coming down a little bit on Jan, and yeah, I think Aldo's very live for a knockout early. Or maybe I don't really see him winning a decision against Jan, and Jan's pace is going to be a little bit too much for him. But I think this fight's going to play out a lot closer, and I will have some Aldo because I do think there's some upside, especially early. We've seen Jan hurt before. Fades, there's a couple I'm looking at, but pretty much Paige Van Zandt, 6,700. Huge underdog. Just don't see a path to victory for her. No really reason to be playing her. Probably put 3% in the 150 max, but like not much Paige Van Zandt. I don't see much upside besides like a fluke knockout or fluke submission. All right, so become a member of my Patreon and receive full access to my model, premium projections, GPP lineup percentages, premium breakdown and strategy video, and my DraftKings article, and also access to my Discord. Lots of good stuff on there. Only $5 a month, the best price out there, or $10 if you want the premium. If you want the premium breakdown and strategy video where I go over lineup construction and all that, $10. And then, yeah, lots of good stuff. So I try to make the most value for the best price possible. I'll put the link in the description. Really helps me out. It's not cheap doing these models and stuff. MMA, I actually take the time and put in the work and do it by hand. But, some of these other models like NASCAR and PGA, I had to pay for the stats to get them in there. And it just really helps me out a lot. A lot of that money does go back into my channel and all that and my models to, make them better. So thank you guys for all the support. Just recently got 100 Patreons last month. So that's awesome. Hopefully we keep growing on there, keep growing the community there. But that's all I got for you guys. Make sure you guys tune in Friday. Friday's going to be a very important live stream because there's a lot of weigh-ins I want to see. I want to see Christian. I want to see Aldo. I want to see Max Holloway on the scales. I want to see all of that, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about strategy. We're going to talk about lineup construction. We're going to talk about most confident plays, underdogs, all that. Lots of great stuff on there. Recently got the most people ever in a stream last week, which was 2 weeks ago, which was like 130. Let's get it to 150 this week, maybe 200. Just keep growing the stream there. But yeah, that's about all I got for you guys. Make sure you comment your DraftKings names, like this video, subscribe if you haven't yet. Really helps me out so much. And thank you guys. And let's win some money on the biggest card of the year.